And welcome to Habs Unfiltered, episode 268. I'm your host, Blaine Pudvey, and I'm joined by my co-host, Treg Wilson.
Hello, everyone. I'm live and in Montreal.
Woo!
I have all the inside
I had
deets.
to leave. I had to leave.
I came back.
Well, I mean, you had that first class ticket on the MCDB.
Yeah, for the one night.
Yeah,
What a terrible sleep that was.
I'm sure it was. Honestly, I don't like sailing on those things because they're flat bottom boats and they just rock way too much for me.
It wasn't too bad going up to St. Lawrence. It was all right. We anchored at Iroquois. Once we left the Iroquois dock, we anchored there and then left the next morning. So
Is that the dock that they completely destroyed Iroquois on? And then sent her to the East Coast for us to fix?
Maybe it's the one that goes from it's the one in the last one from the United States.
Yeah. Oh, the lock.
So,
okay, yeah, I know.
The lock. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is our first show since our live episode at McLean's, and I want to thank everyone that did show up and everybody that sent their well wishes and comments. We appreciate that. Look, not much has happened in the week since, so
No, I
guess that's the show.
I don't even know why we're doing a show.
I don't know. It's summer. I mean, there can't possibly be any hockey talk to be had.
Not in the summer. It's 31 degrees out.
No.
Who's thinking hockey?
Right?
So,
That's
but I am wearing my
weird.
draft hat.
17th round pick. All right. So this episode, we have quite a bit actually. I know we joke and kid, but the development camp happened immediately after the draft. There were a couple of trades. There were a couple of signings. There's rumors. So, hey, why don't we just start with the development camp?
Mm-hmm.
So a couple days after the draft was finished, they had their measurements done, and somehow Slafkovsky, I guess he shrunk an inch.
Yeah, he shrunk about an inch.
Yeah. And then they had their on-ice sessions. And then finally a scrimmage game. So I watched a lot of the stuff that they were doing, and I came away impressed by 3 prospects. Did you watch any of it?
Yeah, I watched a little bit. I'll be honest, I was watching to see more what Marie Poulin was going to do, Marie-Philippe Poulin, and how involved she was going to be. And let me tell you, she was very, very, very involved, to the point that even Vincent Lecavier was saying he was learning some things from her out there. But yeah, I watched a lot of it. There's a couple guys that impressed me out there, and let's see if we'll hear your list first and see if mine's similar to yours or not.
Well, the first one is Slafkovsky. He scored within seconds of the beginning of the camp, so yeah. He kicked it off. He was everything that he was touted to be in that camp. I mean, granted, it's camp, and they're not going full speed, but he did all the things that he's been scouted as being skilled in.
Yeah.
He also showed a lot of hockey IQ in those small area games that they were playing. He was able to push pace, make quick and decisive plays, and accurate passes. So I was really impressed by his play. The other one is Sean Farrell. You can tell that his game has matured quite a bit since the last development camp. And my God, I mean, after the Olympics and the World Championships, playing NCAA for a full season, he really impressed me with just how he sees the ice, his vision along the ice. He knows where to go, where to be, and how to get the puck to where it needs to be, and be in a position to continue the play. I think another year in the NCAA, and we'll be talking about this kid heavily come March of this coming year, when people are going to be begging for him to be signed. And the third one is Lane Hudson. I mean, that kid, holy geez, the skating on that kid, it's just, it's one of the best. Well, yeah, I'd say he's one of the best skaters I've seen in my life. He is just so smooth.
Yeah.
All
All right. Two of mine are the same as yours, but one isn't. So I have Slavkovsky,
Okay.
of course. I thought he was great. He's everything he was built to be. I believe he has a very, very good chance of making the NHL next year. Guaranteed. But from what I hear from Hughes hinting and talking and stuff like that, I think there's a spot kind of there for him to take, if that makes any sense. The other one was Hudson to me. I think Hudson's going to be the star defenseman we've been looking for years. He's going to grow another 2 to 3 inches because of his bone issue or his whatever that is. His bones grow slower than the rest of his body or something. I don't know. But even at the 5'8" he is, he's not Victor Mete. Let's just say that. Because even though he's small, I found even though he was small, he was using his body and he was doing what, like, he was holding off bigger guys than he was. So I mean, I don't mean to trash Mete because I hate doing that, but that's something Mete could never do. Like Mete, let's be honest, Mete could skate. He had the puck moving skills. It's just he didn't have the IQ in either end to finish his game. Whereas in Hudson, he can skate like magnificently, like he's like a gazelle on the ice. He's like a unicorn in space. Like you can quote that, Beth. You're going to quote that unicorn in space. And then he can skate circles around everybody. He can handle the puck. His hockey IQ on the defensive end, the offense, in every zone is just high up there. I'm telling you right now, if this kid was 6'2", he would have been a top 5 pick, maybe top 3.
Yeah, no, I can't argue that
Yeah.
at all. I mean, he had a couple of plays where he was up against larger players, including Slavkovsky, and instead of trying to reach in or make a move that could compromise himself defensively, he noticed, okay, Slavkovsky's cutting to the middle. He's on his backhand. He's about 15 feet out from the ice. I'll give him that shot. I'll just stay on him, make it a little bit harder on him. And it's a low percentage play for him to score. If he scores, well, then, I mean, okay, but he's playing percentages. He's playing his position.
Yep.
He's guiding skaters to where he wants them to be so that he can defend against them. And that level of intelligence will play very well for him, especially if he remains at a smaller stature.
He's taking away the lanes. Like everything you say in defense, best thing to do is take away the lanes. And that's what he's doing. He's taking away the passing lanes. And like you just said, all right, this guy's bigger than me. I'm probably not going to out battle him, for the puck or whatever. Let me just do this to make sure he goes that way. And that way, if he takes a shot, it's a low percentage shot. If it goes in, we'll blame Montembeault. So it's just like that. But my third guy was Heineman, the guy they got from Calgary.
Yeah.
There. I thought he had a very good camp. I'll be honest, that's the first for highlights that I've seen on YouTube and what people have put up. And I thought he was really good. His shootout little goal there that he had, I thought was excellent. I don't always look at a shootout goal and think this guy is going to be the next best thing, but I found he has good hockey IQ. He has a good crisp pass. He's a fairly good skater. He knows his role well. I don't see him being much more than maybe a third liner winger or something like that. But I thought he had a good camp. Sean Farrell, I thought there was a few. I thought Vertebeck, the goalie, Verbetek. What's his name? Vatic. I thought he had a great, and out of that camp, he got himself a Laval Rocket contract. So that's good on him. I thought he had a pretty good camp. It's hard to judge goalies in these camps because it's not goalie friendly, but I would say, they're my 3. Farrell's a close second because I like you. I thought Farrell had a great camp. I think he's having I think he's going to be an NHL player. Whether he's a star or not, it's going to be another question, but I truly believe he's going to be a top 9, maybe top 6 type player, maybe high ceiling second line, but definite third line player. That's what I see in Farrell.
I mean, with him, you you can see him as a top 6 player, but if he doesn't make it, you can see him as a Charles Hudon.
Well, an NHL Charles Hudon, not an AHL Charles Hudon.
Well, he kind of in between, up and down kind of thing. But
yeah, but
he's got that potential ceiling that he could be a top 6 winger, and if that ends up being the case, all the better.
Totally agree. And yeah, no, I thought it was a good camp. Good 3 days. The scrimmage game was good. The more I see Slafkovsky, the more I hear about him, the more whatever, the more I'm excited about the pick. Again, I do think he's going to make the team, but don't put that in writing. That's still think he has to earn it. Like I think with every young guy coming in, if he's ready for the NHL, he'll play in the NHL. If he's not, he won't. That's the way I look at it.
They also need the cap space for it.
Well, right now they have it, as long as they don't sign anybody else.
Not really. He's got 3.5 million coming to him if you include bonuses, and you don't want that rolling over every year, right? So
true.
But I'm really looking forward to the prospect tournament that's going to happen in Buffalo in about 3 weeks. So it'll be really fun to watch. Unfortunately, no NCAA players will be there. No Lane Hudson, no Sean Farrell, no Ty Smilanic, but they still have a pretty decent lineup showing up to that tournament.
Well, they'll have Heineman, they'll have Waugh, they'll have well, I don't know if they'll have Waugh because Waugh, Beck, and somebody else is supposed to go to the World Juniors. Who was the third one? I can't remember who the third one was. Yeah, they're supposed to go to the World Juniors, so I don't know if they'll play in that prospects tournament or not. But if they do, I mean, I think we'll have a fairly good team. I mean, I don't look at to me, I don't care if they win or lose any of these games. I just want to watch the players and see how they react in situations. The only thing I don't like about these games is there's somewhat a little bit of a head hunting. You can ask Luke Evans or Jake Evans about that. But that's in the game. So if you can't handle that at that level, are you going to handle it in the NHL? I want to see Slafkovsky in a more competitive environment. Not that the Olympics and that wasn't competitive, but you know what I mean, like a more competitive environment. It's a D plus, in his draft year, and just see how he handles himself. And same with the other Slovak there that they got.
Mishar.
How do you say his name? Mishar. Anyway,
sure.
Yeah, I'm never going to get these names, but I look forward to seeing how he plays well. I didn't think he stood out in the development camp, so
I mean, he looked like he was able to keep up and push pace. He can play in the AHL this year because he was a European draft pick that signed. But Kitchener Owens is right. So my guess is they're leaning towards sending him to the OHL.
Yeah, I agree. I know Hughes has said he's going to play in North America, whether that's Kitchener or the AHL. I don't know. They decide a bunch of players to play in the AHL, so I don't really see him. Maybe when he's done a season in Kitchener, you'll see it come up like Waugh did and Kidney. So we'll see. I have no issue with him going to Kitchener at all.
Neither do I. I think it would be a good step for his development, I believe. And a lot of those signatures that we've seen for the Rocket, several of them are going to be ending up going to Trois-Rivières. So Joe Vrbatic, he's likely to be one of the 2 goalies going down to Trois-Rivières, along with DesRosiers, who signed at the same time.
Yeah, Philip DesRosiers is more, I think, is a veteran. He's going to be more of a Kevin Poulin type role. So I'm actually surprised they never re-signed Kevin Poulin unless he's looking for an NHL contract. But because he had a great year last year, and if DesRosiers can do what Poulin did last year, then more backup for Caden Primo. Because I think this is going to be Caden Primo's year to play maybe 60 games in the AHL, hopefully anyway, and see what he can do. He had a great. I will admit, when it comes to Primo, I was on my way to saying I don't think he's the guy, and then he had that playoff run for Laval, and Who knows? Who knows?
he salvaged that a little bit. He
He
still
salvaged
needs
it a
that
little
full
bit.
year to really prove himself.
Oh, definitely. He's not NHL ready yet. He's not.
No, no, no. All right. So from the development camp, we're going to move on to free agency. So before, there was one signing that just everyone's scratching their heads and wondering why, and that's Gaudreau to Columbus.
Uh he likes Ohio. I don't know.
I mean, Columbus is a nice city and all. Ohio State University's there. It's
I
a
think
couple million people.
I think Johnny just wants to play in a low level atmosphere hockey town. Um, he Calgary, believe it or not, is actually a bustling hockey town in the wintertime. And I think he just wanted to go maybe he really likes, I was gonna say Torts, but Torts is in Philadelphia, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like you knew he wasn't in Calgary, but you knew New Jersey and the Islanders were looking hard at him. So even those were kind of not as high profile as some other places, but I guess he just wanted middle America. I have no idea.
Well,
It really,
it's closer to where you grew up.
well, there you go. Maybe that's what it is. I don't, I'm stumped. Good for him. He even took lesser money to
Yeah.
go there. That's what
Yes, he did.
surprised me. He took lesser money. Maybe it's a family thing. I don't know. It's
M-
not all
Mer-
about dollars and signs or dollars and cents. So
Well, I mean,
uh,
it's not super close to where he grew up because he grew up in Jersey, but it's a quick flight from Newark to Columbus. I think it's like an
yeah,
hour. So that's way closer than going all the way to Calgary, which is a couple of connecting flights.
but
And you're
you
looking at
know what
about
would have been
12 hours of
closer?
travel.
You know what would have been closer? New Jersey.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. Columbus
I don't
sold
know.
them on what they were doing. And I mean, they've got a really good family atmosphere there too. And it's not, the hockey market is a small hockey market. So he could probably walk around town and not worry.
I think I'm leaning to that. I'm leaning to the fact he wanted to go a place where he knew would be anonymous, and there, away you go. I guess I don't know. It's about as strange a signing as Montreal signing the big star player that they signed as a UFA.
Madison Bowie.
Correct.
Yeah. But with Goudreau, I mean, people were complaining that he showed no loyalty to the team. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is pro sports. Where's the
I,
loyalty to
I
the players?
I get tired of this whole no loyal. If the team, listen, obviously he did not want to play in Calgary anymore. All right,
No,
he was there. He was there what, 6, 7 years or something like that. I don't know how long he was there for. But I mean, if he
9, I
don't
think.
want, if he doesn't want to be there anymore, he doesn't want to be there anymore. Like it's no different than Jeff. We'll get to it later. Jeff Petry in Montreal. He loved Montreal, but situations changed, things changed, and now then he didn't want to be there anymore. And like, can we quit? It's like the Leafs thinking everyone who's from Toronto wants to sign a hometown discount to play for the Leafs. It doesn't happen. Sure, Jason Spezza did it, but that's Jason Spezza because he wanted to. He was at the end of his career. He made his money. Didn't care, right? Like other people are like, you know what? I want to. Maybe they want to go to. Maybe he wants to go to Columbus because he can help build them a Stanley Cup. You know what? Build a team to a Stanley Cup. Maybe that's what he wants to do. He sees in Calgary they're in kind of a where are we going type spot, and he'd rather either be with a team that's starting to build for a cup or a team already on its way to the cup. And I have no issue with that. I have no issue with people going for money. It's their lives. It's what they want to do. I would leave it if a job came to me tomorrow and said, we will give you twice as much as what you're making now. I would put my resignation into the military tomorrow. Here's my 30 days.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
It has nothing to do with loyalty because I look at it and say, all right, now it'd be different if Calgary, you know, brought him out of the gutter and rebuilt his game like Toronto's going to do with Mete and turned him into this big superstar. And but they didn't. He did that on his own. Now, do I think he's going to score 100 some odd points in Columbus? No. I don't think he is, but
No, probably not. And with the loyalty part, I mean, you look at other teams around the league, like Vegas. They're every single year going after the shiny new object to the
yeah.
point that their cap is completely out of whack, and they end up giving away a 35 goal scorer in Pacioretty to Carolina for future considerations, who seems to
I
be
really,
the most popular player in the league.
I want to know who that guy is, and I've been looking him up on Hockey Reference to see how many points he gets a year, and I can never find it. He's a
No,
secret player,
but
but he's been everywhere.
They lack the loyalty to the guys that they've brought into Vegas, to the point where they're just signing more guys and more guys and more guys, where they end up losing all these really good hockey players. I mean, how do you not get something for Pacioretty? Even when he had a trade demand in and refused to report, the Canadiens still got a pretty decent return.
Well, they got an okay return, I guess. They get what? Thomas Tatar and some prospect dude that I never heard of.
Yeah, and some draft pick.
Some Nick Suzuki. Oh, the draft pick was
Norlinder.
Norlinder, right? Yeah. So I mean, I know people do. Oh, we won the trade because Vegas has nothing, but I don't look at it that way because they're two totally different trades. So both teams won that trade. I don't care what anyone says.
But Vegas screwed it up by not managing themselves.
And how George McPhee still has a job in Vegas, I have no idea. I absolutely have no idea. If you have to give away a potential 40-goal scorer for nothing because you don't have cap space to hold anyone else on your team, like, why did they go get Eichel if they knew they couldn't afford him?
Because he was the shiny object.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I don't see. I'm glad Kent Hughes. We're going to get into this later. He's not doing stupid stuff like that. So
no, he is not. And I was kind of going to segue from that and say, well, you compare what McCrimmon's doing in Vegas to what Hughes is doing in Montreal. So you mentioned Petry. Petry requested a trade, said he would still play until he found something that kind of fit. But Hughes went all out and found something just yesterday.
Well, Ken Hughes said right from this trade deadline last year that, yes, Jeff Petry, he was taking calls on Jeff Petry. Jeff Petry, mind you, according to Hughes, Jeff Petry never came out and asked for a trade. He told Hughes what his situation was, and they mutually agreed that maybe him moving to a different team would be the best answer for Jeff Petry. So I'm only saying this because, you're going to have the people, oh, Petry quit on the team. Petry hated Montreal. Petry hated the situation in Montreal at the time. He has a family of, 4 kids under the age of, his wife's pregnant, 3 kids under the age of 6. They were living in Michigan because of what's going on and what was going on with COVID. And it was affecting his game. And you know what? I get that. He's a family man. His family comes first. I get Ken Hughes. Ken Hughes said, yep, Jeff, I'll entertain that, but only if it works for both of us. Right? Jeff, being the logical, he said, I agree to that. So before anyone says he quit on the team, he did not, because he could have easily said, no, I want to trade ASAP. Right? I don't give a shit what you get back. And he didn't. So lo and behold, Blaine Poppin and I are sitting at the draft, and I get a picture of a ball behind the table because he walked around a little bit looking for the table, and he stalked to Ron Hextall. I put out a tweet saying, is there a trade? I didn't say it was Petry. So before anyone says I didn't say it was Petry, but Blaine, you mentioned to me, maybe they're talking Petry. You said that at the draft. Lo and behold, 9 days later, Jeff Petry and Ryan Poehling are traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Montreal native Mike Matheson and a 4th-round pick in 2020.
Now, yeah, so at the draft, I mean, they talked for about 15 minutes and then shook hands and said, okay. So there was something that they had laid out, and it looked like it was something that had to happen after Pittsburgh made another move, which turned out it was.
They traded Smith to New Jersey. Marino, yeah.
They got Smith from Marino
for
Marino.
New Jersey for Marino. So they traded away their. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and they traded him away to make space on the right side for Petry to come in.
Yeah.
As well under the cap, so it kind of fits under the cap for them.
Right.
And you look at the return that Hughes got for him. So this is a 34-year-old defenseman, making 6.25 million, and he's going to be on the decline soonish. I don't think it'll happen for another year or two, but nonetheless, instead of having to eat some cap and then give away a prospect on top of that just to take the player like San Jose did with Burns, the Canadians in return got Mike Matheson. So there's a guy who's from Montreal, whose family lives there. So now one guy's family situation's improved going to Pittsburgh, and the other one's improved by going to Montreal. It's kind of like a win-win there.
Mm-hmm. And Matheson makes 4.87 million. Like it was I would say for him as a friendly, he really broke out last year with his 11 goals, 31 points. When he was signed, they expected this breakout to be a year or two earlier. He's 28 years old, so you lost 6 years of age on your defenseman. He's in 28 years is about the prime for a defenseman, 28 to 32, and you have him for the next 4 years. So you have him in his prime, and then he becomes a free agent. So that gave him, along with Paling, they gave up $7 million in cap space to because Paling's 750 to Pittsburgh, and they only got a little under 5 back, or they got a little under. So it gave them enough money to go sign the person that everyone thought they lost.
Yeah, they saved about $2.1 million under the cap, and then they used 1.1 of that to sign Rem Pitlick.
Right, which Pitlick would ask for more money because arbitration would have gave him around $3 million. So I was kind of to me that shows Rem Pitlick wanted to stay in Montreal.
Yeah, I think he understands that if he were to sign a contract of that amount, that it would only be the 1 year, and if he did not meet the level expected of a $3.5 million player, probably wouldn't get another one. But now at 1.1, not only can the team waive him and not have anything on the cap, he is paid as a fourth liner should be paid.
Right.
And the expectations for him now are not astronomical. I mean, he scored 26 points in 46 games for the Canadians. If he does 25 to 30 points over the entire season next year, no one's going to be upset by that. A 30-point guy for $1 million, no one's upset.
No. And he played well last year. He was what, 8th, I think, in rookie scoring last year.
Yes.
He played very well in Minnesota, and they didn't have any room for him. He was buried behind some players. He's a guy you can play up and down the lineup. So if you get some injuries or whatever, you can throw him in that top 6. If you really need he can play center. So he's very versatile. So you do have a guy in Kirby Dach, who's a center, but if you have any issue with his face-offs and stuff like that, here's a guy you could kind of throw in there and say, all right, Kirby, your face-offs are off tonight. We're going to throw, whatever. You get a guy on the wing that's going to complement the set face-off circle. So I don't mind. I don't mind the Pitlick sign. It was a surprise to me. I'm glad they got him. I like Pitlick from last year. But I'm with you. I don't see him being any more than a third line player. Fourth line, maybe at best. We are deep on wing. Deep on wing, but we're deep on wing with not a lot of top 6 wingers. So
no, that's true. There's only, I'd say, maybe 3 legit top 6 wingers.
Yeah. Anderson, Caulfield, and
Slafkovsky.
Maybe Gallagher. Maybe if he's old Gallagher, but I still see Gallagher as a third liner. So
yeah,
that's just.
I'm expecting a lot from Gallagher this coming season with the extra time off to rest, recuperate, train. The motivation factor to come back from a really bad year. I'm expecting quite a bit out of him. Not a 30-goal year, mind you, but a 2020 40-point guy.
I'm expecting 20-25 goals and 40, maybe 50 points at the high end. Maybe. I'll be happy with 40. If he gets 40, I'll consider that a success.
Yeah, I think so. And on the blue line, what we're going to see is probably going to see 2 rookies. So any kind of Barron, Harris, and Gooley. So 2 of them are going to be in the lineup. I'm gonna put more emphasis on Barron because he's a right-hand shot. So it'll be down to Gooley and Harris kind of battling it out for that last spot.
I think if they all make it, I think you'll see St. Louis do what he did last year and kind of rotate the three out. You're never going to have two in the, you know what I mean? Like you'll never have two in the lineup at the same time. So you'll play a game, sit two, play a game, sit two. Until they prove Barron, I think, is a little bit ahead of everyone else. So I agree with you. I think Barron will be that guy. But I mean, you still have on the right side, you still have Weidman and Savard. So Barron does have that little bit of an in there because they don't have many other options.
Well, they got guys who can play both sides. So
Yeah.
Schoeneman's a guy who's played both sides.
Yeah.
Mike Matheson's a guy who plays both sides.
Play both sides, yeah. But I think what you'll see Matheson and Savard probably take the top line with Edmondson and maybe Weidman or Barron. You could see a guy like Barron playing with Edmondson. Edmondson will shelter him.
Yeah. That's my expectation, that Edmondson would play the role of big brother on something in a role like that.
And then you got Weidman and Harris / Gooley.
Yeah,
really. That's how I see it anyway.
And the ice time is going to be shared a bit. I think they'll do a pretty good job of spreading that out. Power play time going to guys like Harris and Barron versus penalty kill time that will go to guys like Gooley. And I don't think we're going to see next season's blue line is no better than last season's, which was bad. They were bad.
They were bad, but let's see who the goalie's going to be. Is it going to be Carey Price? Is it going to be Jake Allen and old Montembeault? Is it going to be Price and Allen? Is it going to be Price and Montembeault? Let's see. Because let's admit, if you got a good Carey Price or a healthy Carey Price, your defense can be a little slack. Can be.
Yeah, well, it could be sheltered. It could be sheltered.
It can be sheltered, right? But if you don't, if you have a Sam Montembeault back there, then you're going to get slaughtered every night. Sorry.
True.
No offense, Sam Montembeault,
but for the people that are screaming tank, 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 this blue line is not going to be the difference between, picking 3rd overall and picking 10th overall. Like, they're not any better than they were last year. Matheson even brings what Petry had with the Canadians. They play a similar game. It's just that Matheson plays on the right side or on the left side, and he can actually make a pass on the power play.
You broke up there. I didn't know what you said.
Yeah, so Matheson and Petry play similar styles, whereas Matheson plays on the left and can make a pass on the power play.
Yeah, well, it's the defense again. I don't think this team, and I kind of get in a little discussion with someone who says he's a pro hockey player and he knows everything about hockey on Facebook, where I said, the problem with this team is not bad enough to be a bottom 5 team. It's not. I'm sorry, but it isn't, especially if you have a healthy Price. Although this guy seems to think Price is done for his career because he's garbage now. And anyway, the point I'm making is bottom 10, sure. Yeah, I can see this team being out. You got to remember, this team was 14, 19, and 4 under Martin St. Louis with Sam Montembeault as your number 1 goalie. Think about that. Sam Montembeault and a crappy defense, and there were only 5 games under 500. So this team is not – they're not making the playoffs. I don't care who you got goaltending.
Playoffs?
But I don't see them finishing bottom 5 either. So I say somewhere between 8, 9, and 10 is where they're gonna finish.
I depending on what happens between now and training camp, who's added, who's subtracted, come next season, I can see the team fall to like a bottom 5 pick based on injuries. So if there's key injuries to players, which will happen. So it's how long are they out and who's missing? Are there several players gone at the same time? Are they going to be gone for long periods?
You can say that about any team though. Really?
Well, with this team specifically, because there's not much in the way of high-end players.
If you have Sam Montembeault, your number one goalie, then yes, I will agree this team will be a bottom 5 team.
Yeah.
Sure. Right? But if you have a healthy Jake Allen or a healthy Carey Price, they remain relatively healthy all year, then no, this team's not a bottom 5 team. It's not a playoff team. It's not a cup contending team. It's not a bubble team. It is a bottom 10 team.
Yeah, like a 10th overall pick, 9 to 11, somewhere in there.
Somewhere 9 to, I'll say even 8 to 12. Somewhere in that
Sure.
window. Somewhere in
Yeah.
that window.
Yeah, absolutely. But that all depends on what else is added and subtracted.
Well, like I said, they haven't re-signed Herbie Dock yet, and Sam Montembeault hasn't been signed. Mind you, they can sign Montembeault tomorrow for league minimum. I would assume. But Doc's probably going to want more than what Rem Pitlick got, even though
Yes. I can see Doc asking for 3.5 in a bridge deal. So 3.5 over a bridge deal for Doc is what I can see, like a 2-year deal, 3.5 per season.
Sure. I see about 2.5, but yeah, 3.5. I wouldn't be surprised at 3.5. That's fine. Over a bridge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
it'll, but they don't have that. They only have like 1.2 plus they got to pay that overage fee when the season, coming up. So
well, they've got that covered right now. They need to
do they?
move
All right.
another player out.
But that's what I'm saying. They only have 1.2 in cap space. So once you pay that overage, you only have like 500,000 or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And then right, so you have to move a player out. You have to move at least $3 to $4 million out somehow, some way.
And then
now Byron's supposed to go on LTIR, but you can't wait
he
for the
will, yeah.
season you can't wait for the season to start to put a guy on LTIR. Because you got to sign that guy before. I mean, you can go over. You can go 10% over the cap, I guess. So
yeah,
they
and as
could
long as you put
sign
him on LTIR before the season or just as the season's starting, you're okay. But anytime you ask you talk about the Canadians dropping salary, the first name everyone pops up is get rid of Hoffman. Oh, it's going to be Hoffman. My question is, who the fuck wants him?
Calgary.
And what will it
They just
cost to
lost
get rid of
Goodrow.
him?
They just lost Goodrow. Calgary could take another winger.
Sure,
Listen,
yeah, but
everyone hates Hoffman because he doesn't play defense and he floats around. But Hoffman has his points. Like Hoffman, supposedly, even though he didn't do it in Montreal, is supposed to be good on the power play.
well, he was near the end of the season. But my point
Yeah.
is, with Hoffman, because he doesn't play really well defensively, and by that I mean not so good, it's going to cost an asset with him for someone to take that contract, especially if you're hoping that the Canadians aren't eating some of that cap.
Well, it doesn't look to me like Ken Hughes wants to eat any cap from anyone.
No.
He proved that with Jeff Petry. He was not eating any cap from Jeff Petry. So if you want to get, I don't think it's going to be Huffman is going to be the guy they're going to move. I really don't.
No.
But if they're going to move Huffman, and what's he, $4.5 million or something, he would be the perfect move. But you're going to have to eat something. You're going to have to give up a high draft pick or a top prospect. By top prospect, I mean
like B-level.
Yeah, B-level prospect in order to get rid of him. So, and then you got to find a team with the cap space to take him. Who needs a winger? Now that Gaudreau is gone, Calgary comes in mind to me. You know what I mean? But does Calgary really want Mike Huffman over there? There's whatever. To me, I think you'll be better off trying to move a guy like Armia or a guy like I want to a guy who has wrist injuries and he's already been run out of town here in Montreal by the fans and the media, which me, I think you're on me with this. I don't agree with that, but and he's on an expiring contract, so someone could take that because it's an expiring contract. But again, you might have to throw something in with that and say, "Hey, take this contract." So who do you? It's tough. I would say
with a guy like him, if you're not giving up a high prospect or a high pick, I could see that. I can see Hughes then saying, "You know what? I'll eat $1 million." Because it's an expiring deal.
Yeah, I can see him doing the same thing he did with Danadov, bringing Danadov over to get rid of Weber's contract there, right?
Yeah,
So he doesn't
yeah,
have that over. Take a guy who's on a 1 year contract that maybe a veteran defenseman that you can throw in there as your seventh defenseman to give the rookies a break or help the rookies out.
yep.
However, it has to be an expiring contract that still gives him enough money to sign Kirby Doc and Sam Montembeault. So where you know, getting rid of 4.5 million only to bring 4 million back is just your waste. That's why bother,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So
And I think it might be Anderson is his best bet.
I hate to see it, and I don't think Hughes wants to get rid of Anderson, or he would have traded him already. I think he's pretty much
Yeah.
said if you want Anderson, you're overpaying for Anderson, but maybe taking depends on what the overpay is and who takes them. I mean, could they get a third? If they can get a third first round pick and I don't know, a nice young player, like I don't know, maybe if they traded to Winnipeg for a certain player there. But then again, what's the rush to get that? Well, anyway, we'll talk about that later. But I
You
don't
may as well
know.
just
I don't.
jump into it now.
Might as well jump into it. So if you want to make that trade, then if you're trading Anderson, you're trading him in a deal for Pierre-Luc Dubois. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dubois has been rumored, according to several sources, and including his agent,
Agent, he wants
uh,
Montreal.
he wants to play in Montreal.
Yeah. And really, so here's the issue you have. You have a rock, Ken Hughes, and a hard place, Kevin Cheveldae. Both of them are stubborn as hell. Both of them do not make a trade unless they're going to get exactly what they want. And then you have Dubois. So now I had a little thing today where I did not know this. I didn't know Dubois was at the draft, but apparently he was. Now, a lot of people didn't know he was there because the people we talked to had no idea he was there. We talked to then a guy on Twitter said, "Hey, he was at the draft." And I said, "I don't think he was." And he quoted up, "Well, this podcast said he was." Well, I don't, I won't even trust my own podcast, let alone someone else's podcast for rumors. But then someone brought up an athletic article by Arpin that said, yes, his agent said he was there with his family expecting a trade.
Yeah.
So either Renaud Lavoie, either he that's the trade he was talking about that was on the table. Now, apparently, Montreal offered 3 players to Winnipeg for Dubois. This is the rumor,
Yeah.
and Winnipeg turned it down. So here's the issue: Ken Hughes is, I think, Winnipeg wants a top player like Caulfield, something like that. Is what I think they want
No,
back. I think that's
that's
where
not
the
happening.
stalling. It's not. I'm just using Caulfield as a name. I don't have any.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think they want one of Montreal's highest, like it's either Caulfield or Doc or Slabosky or something like that is what they want back for Dubois. And I don't think Ken Hughes is budging on that. A lot of people think Doc was just traded to get Dubois, but why didn't they just trade for Dubois straight out and not bother getting Doc? Like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So I believe it's one of those. Kent isn't going to step back from what he wants, but the ball's in Montreal's court. If Pierre-Luc Dubois wants to go to Montreal, the ball's in their court. It's not in Winnipeg's court.
True. I mean, this is something it looks like it's eventually going to happen, where he's going to end up in Montreal. Maybe not this summer, but a couple of years down the road, because he's not looking at a long-term deal if he signs any. Today, it's the 17th of July, and this afternoon at 5 p.m., he did not file for arbitration, which means he's open to offer sheets. That kind
Right.
of pushes Cheveldayoff's hand.
That
So,
was done on purpose. That was done. Now
of
Montreal's not going to
course,
offer sheet him because they don't have the money to offer sheet him.
and even if they did, are they going to offer sheet and lose their first round pick next year?
No, they're not.
No,
Especially if they expect to be a bottom 10 team.
exactly.
Or with some other people who say they know hockey, a bottom 5 team because they know hockey. Anyway, I don't even. But the point I'm making is, and then this is why I think the ball's in Montreal's court, because they're just like, all right, well, you don't give us we can't get him for what we want to give you. Sign him to the deal. He's going to tell you he only wants a 1 or 2 year deal. Once that deal's over, we'll take him as a free agent. If he wants to play here so bad, he'll come for a discount. That's the way. And plus, in 2 years, Montreal will have the money.
They'll have the need. They'll definitely have the need for him at that point, and they'll have the money for it. Winnipeg, man, they're a mess. They don't know. You don't know where they're going to go. They don't know if they're going to rebuild. They don't know if they're going for it. They're missing a ton of parts, maybe 3 different pieces that they could possibly get from the Canadians. I mean, really. But yeah, you see it online. These people are saying it's Suzuki or bust. I mean, I don't know where they buy their crack.
It's not Suzuki.
But it's not Suzuki.
No.
I mean, in the same tweet saying it's Suzuki or nothing, they also go back down and say that, hey, we don't have much leverage. Well, if you have no leverage, you're not going to get the top return.
No. Well, see, I know Winnipeg Jets fans are saying, and I think there's some truth to some of this. I do think it's a high-profile player that they want back. I don't know if it's Suzuki, but I do think it's like a Gooley or a Caulfield or a Slavkovsky or an Anderson, right? And I don't see any of those players. Anderson maybe, but Kent Hughes really likes Anderson, and he really wants because if he wanted to get rid of him, he would have traded him a long time ago.
Yeah, but I don't think Anderson would be the sticking point here. I think it's the Suzuki, Caulfield.
No, it's Suzuki, Caulfield,
one of those.
Slavkovsky, one of those guys that they're asking for to stick it. I agree. And that's why I said earlier, if there is a trade for Dubois, Anderson could be part of that. Because, I mean, they do need a power forward, Winnipeg. Winnipeg will need a center when they get rid of Dubois. Winnipeg needs defense. The only thing they don't need is goaltending. That's the only thing they don't need.
Yeah. And the Canadians can easily offer up an Edmondson and a Dvorak and an Anderson and maybe a pick. They can throw all that in.
To me, that's an overpayment, but okay, yeah.
It clears up a ton of cap space. It fills all the holes they've got.
It does.
And it gets the Canadians ball rolling.
Yeah, and then with that cleared cap space, they can fill the defense up with a couple veterans. That way, they don't need to worry about the rookies, and maybe you're a little bit better than a top bottom 10 team. Maybe a little bit better, but
the goal here is, though, down the road. Is this a piece that they would really need to be a cup contending team in, say, 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, but in 2 or 3 years, they can get them for free without giving up anything.
Exactly.
That's my whole point about this. Like, this is why Kent Hughes is sitting back and going, I don't care what you want, Kevin. This is what I'm going to give you. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. And that's the beauty with Hughes, how he's been managing things. He knows where the pressure points are. He knows what he can get away with, and he's been pushing right to that ledge.
And another thing on Matheson is Kent Hughes was his agent until Kent Hughes became GM of the Montreal Canadiens. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, LeCavalier was his agent, but that's the same agency.
Correct. Yeah. So, but
and they're from the same hometown. So,
but when it comes back to Dubois, I have a feeling. I said it wasn't going to happen, but now I have a feeling that it probably is going to happen this year. But then again, you get Dubois, you still got to sign him.
Yeah,
he's an RFA. That's going to sign him.
And you don't want to sign him for just 2 freaking years. You're going to want like an 8-year deal or something along those lines.
And that 8-year deal is going to be close to what Suzuki's getting made, if not more. The stats are similar.
I would say around.
You have a 23-year-old who scored 60 points twice. So he's going to get about $8 million. And where are we getting that $8 million? Where's the Canadians getting that $8 million? Unless they get rid of Dvorak, Anderson, and somebody else.
And an established defenseman like an Edmondson, because they do not want to have Savard. I guarantee it.
Savard played well after he came back from his injury. I don't care what anyone says. But he's not
But
an
if you're
Edmondson. He's not an
no,
Edmondson. Edmondson can play well and guide the young guys along. So plus, who's going to do all the insurance commercials if Savard gets traded?
blah.
But I agree with you. Like I never thought of that three combo, but that's probably the best combo to give. But does Winnipeg want veteran type players, or do they want? See, that's again. You get what's Winnipeg doing? Are they going to blow up the farm and rebuild, or do they still think they got a chance to burst that bubble and make it into the go far in the playoffs? Because if they want to blow it up,
Knows.
if they want to blow it up, they don't want those three guys. Maybe Dvorak and Anderson. They don't want Edmonston, right? And I don't know how bad Montreal wants to give up Anderson. Do they want to give him up for Dubois?
I would.
I give credit to Dubois. He wants to go to Montreal as a French player and live under the scrutiny of if you have a bad game, you might as well leave the city. And if you have a great game, you might as well own the city. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit bipolar on that
a
front.
little
But
bit, you think?
yeah, a little bit. But it's clear that he's not happy in Winnipeg, and he's willing to play hardball. I mean, even if he signs a deal, I don't see it being longer than 1 to 2 years. He's not going to give UFA years away.
No.
He's going to keep his option open. He's going to turn 26 and sign as a free agent with the Canadiens for like $8-9 million bucks a year. At a time when the Canadiens have that space.
And even if he blows up and I don't know, goes crazy and scores like 80, 85 points or 90 points, he's still only going to get about $9-10 million.
Yeah. But back to the Jets, what kind of team are they trying to put together? Are they trying to win? Are they trying to make the playoffs? Are they going to rebuild? Like if they don't know what the hell they're doing, it makes sense that he doesn't really want to stay.
So basically, Cheveldaoff is the new Bergevin. You have no idea which way your team's going.
1 year you make make a conference final. The next year you finish dead last.
Winnipeg Jets. We need we need John Lou's Bergevin song as our theme song.
Ooh. When he sent that to us, that was an amazing song. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, he ended up posting it on his Twitter feed.
Yeah.
Tim singing karaoke. And if there's a real life Fonz somewhere in the world, it's John Lou.
Yeah, he made up a song about Bergevin.
Based on it's a French folk song that he changed the lyrics to.
And it's incredible. It's just incredible.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's so. I don't want a deal to get done because I think we can just let him sign for 2 years because he's not going to sign any more than 2 years with anybody with Winnipeg. You know that for a fact. Apparently, the Winnipeg dressing room is a toxic atmosphere. I guess there's a lot of, I hear a lot of this. Oh, he's quit on 2 teams. Well, Columbus, him and Torts didn't. If you don't get along with your coach, you don't want to play there anymore. I don't think he gave up on them. I think it was just a matter of I can't work with this coach, and I don't think Torts could really work with him. I think it was a Petry Ducharme type situation, right? I don't think it was he wanted to give up on the team. Same with Winnipeg. There's a toxic locker room in Winnipeg, and he just wants to go home. I guess he wants to pull the Tavares. There's going to be pictures of him in his Montreal Canadiens pajamas when he gets over there, and hopefully I'll get a tweet when he scores his first goal in a preseason scrimmage.
In practice on an open net.
Yeah.
In warm up.
Yeah, I'm surprised TSN didn't ding me when Slavoski scored in the scrimmage.
You didn't see a damn thing. Didn't see a damn thing on TSN. They were busy talking about Matthews's cookie recipe.
That's true, actually. Thought it was Marner's. Wasn't it Marner's cookie recipe?
No, I think this year they went with Matthews because
okay.
Marner taught him how to bake, so they wanted to see how well he did.
Oh, yeah.
He's still stuck at oatmeal raisin.
I like oatmeal raisin.
Yeah, well, he's the oatmeal raisin of humanity. He's a person,
Shit.
but nobody likes him.
That's
Uh,
terrible.
well,
Terrible.
what are you gonna do? We make jokes. We make jokes.
Leave the
Um,
young balding man alone.
Christ, I've got more hair than him. That's not good.
Uh,
Anyway, I think that pretty much covers everything we were going to talk about for this week. Do you have anything else?
yeah, before we go, is Pierre-Luc Dubois a Montreal Canadian this season?
I'm going to say 80% yes, because I've been talking to some people out of the contacts we made over the week that we were there, and some people I knew before, and there's a big move still to come, and I think it's him.
I've been talking to some people out of the contacts that we made, and I'm almost with you. I think it's going to come down to whether which GM is going to give, and I think, and I kept saying this, I think it's going to be shovel day off because Hughes doesn't really have to, so why would he? And that's a direct quote from this person I talked to. Hughes doesn't have to give, so why would he? Right? So
Yep.
Hughes
He's
isn't
been
trying to
patient
win.
so far.
He's not trying to win right now. So
No,
whether he gets Dubois right now or not is irrelevant. He knows he's going to get him eventually.
well, even next year would work for him because he'd have an extra 20 million in cap space.
But the exact quote I got from person I'll leave unnamed, he said he knows he's going to get him eventually. Why? What does it matter if he gets him now or later? To hit on his side.
Yeah.
He and we both agree it's going to happen this year, but it's going to be shovel day off.
Yeah.
Taking what he's off.
Yeah, especially now that he can take offer sheets. He didn't go to arbitration, so it's kind of pushing. Yeah, he's kind of pushing his cards and saying, "I'm out."
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, I got none.
All right. Well, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, listening. Last week's show was one of our most listened to. I guess they liked the fact that we were at a bar. I felt that was a good touch. It didn't hurt that we had several, famous people there. The crew from Happy Hour, super famous. And honestly, we had a great time with them. Really did all week long. Hung out with those guys.
I want to thank John
Everybody
Lou
else
for hanging out with us all night long.
We promised not to tell people to ruin his rep.
We have pictures, Blaine. We shared them.
I didn't. I followed his rules. He had rules. No, he was fun. But I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Keep sending comments, keep sending emails. Remember, we have that merch store now. You can buy hats, t-shirts, cups, flags, whatever. And 100% of the money goes to Vets Canada. So we're trying to do our part to help end veterans homelessness. So if whatever you buy will go to that. Don't worry, it's not helping us. We're not buying beer off this. We're giving that to the community. So thank you for listening. And remember, if you're talking about it, so are we.